I do have a few urbanism-related thoughts about the current corona crisis. The big one, the primary one, is who in the world wants the cars to return to our cities? We've all seen the mythical images of car-free streets. We've been staring at them for weeks. We can smell, we can hear our cities like we have not been able to for decades. Pollution in Copenhagen has been cut in half. It's the same story across the board in cities all over the planet. Seriously, who wants car-clogged streets back? Nobody. Is this a massive turning point? And most importantly, how do we nail it? Here in Copenhagen, we're allowed to go out. I have total respect for all the people who are in a region where they're not allowed to leave their homes. I can't imagine what that would be like. But here, we can go out. Most of the shops and restaurants are closed, including my local wine bar, which just drives me absolutely insane. But we can wander about. People are walking. They're running. They're cycling all over the city like I've never seen it before. They have the time to do so. You know what's happening in cities like this during the current crisis? People are reconnecting with their city. They're discovering parks and pathways and playgrounds and entire neighborhoods, really for the first time. We're venturing farther afield, expanding our mobility patterns and our habitual radii. I'm trying to cycle every single street in the city in which I live, Fredericksburg. That's how bored I am. But I am discovering amazing things, hidden streets I didn't know existed 2 minutes from my house, wild architecture. People everywhere are taking ownership of their streets, of their neighborhood, of their city. Many of them in a way they have never done before. This has got to be a good thing, one with hopefully long-term effects. Many people can work from home easily. A lot of other people have always had a bit of a problem with it. It is a radical shift in our mindset, trying to work from home for the first time. But man, a lot of people around the world are getting the chance to experience it, like it or not, right now. I travel half my life, but when I'm home, this is where I work. So not a lot has changed for me. I might be wearing pants right now, but then I might not. But I think a lot of people are working from home and realizing, wait, hang on, a lot of those meetings back at work, maybe they weren't that necessary. And I think there are a lot of bosses around the world right now who are realizing, wait, stuff is still getting done. People are still doing their jobs. And we have an amazing work-life balance here in Denmark. And I think a lot of people around the world are having a chance to kind of experience what that is like. And things are still getting done. The cogs are still turning. We're sailing our own ship, as it were, and everything seems to be working out fine. In many cases, with less stress. It's going to be interesting to see how this impacts our work culture all over the world and our desire for a better work-life balance once we get out of this corona tunnel into the light on the other side. I read an article, I think last year, about the end of cooking. You know, we're all buying ready-made meals at the supermarkets, we're using delivery services to have food brought to our homes, and we're kind of forgetting about the art of cooking. If my Facebook and Instagram are any indication, people are making food again, and they're posting photos of it like ad nauseum. But hey, that's cool. On the other hand, I have never seen so many delivery bikes delivering takeaway to people's homes as I have during the crisis here in Copenhagen. It has absolutely exploded. What we're talking about here in Denmark is how we have to support our local businesses, restaurants and cafes in our neighborhoods. But we're also discussing at the moment, especially last week, the fact that these foreign delivery companies are charging up to 30% on every order from my local business in order to have it brought to our homes. Man, if this is where we're going, I'm not a big fan of it, man. I just think that if you live in a neighborhood like this in a European city or any densely populated neighborhood, man, walk or ride a bike down to pick up your takeaway. Support your local businesses now more than ever. Things are changing dramatically and rapidly, and of course, none of us have any idea where it's going to end up and how it's going to pan out. But here's a little list of things that I think should never come back. Cruise ships. Seriously, why have they not disappeared off the face of the earth decades ago, man? You know, the most unsustainable form of tourism, polluting everywhere they go on such a massive scale. Passengers disembarking for a few hours or a day somewhere in the world, they contribute very little to the local economy. Bye. Over-tourism. Tourism is and always has been an amazing thing. Over-tourism, however, has been a massive problem for some time now. Let's hope that the cities and countries that rely so heavily on tourism get back on track once the crisis is over. But let's also hope that we flatten the curve of over-tourism. Cars in cities, the destruction that they bring, the pollution that follows them around like a bad smell. Let's not flatten that curve, man. Let's squash it like a bug. More bicycle infrastructure, better public transport. Now is the time to strike.